believing what we see and believing what we hear. Because, and I would say that people that are not, one big contrast between the digital generation and then say my generation, which is more of we learned with paper.
Mm-hmm.
And we maybe were a little bit more grounded in reality, is that they are so easily manipulated.
Yeah, and I guess I see this, Steve, in a much more troubling manner.
Right. That's why I'm troubled, because anytime you have a whole generation that's basically putty in the hands of the media matrix, if you will, is susceptible to some. You don't even know what's coming at you if something's coming at you in multiple dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what D-wave computing is doing. It's actually trying to change the fabric of reality.
Yeah.
And people just don't know what we're talking about. And when you start to put two and two together, you got, oh my God, this thing could be some kind of a beast.
Well, I think we're seeing, I did a video on transhumanism. What is the true future for mankind? And what we're really seeing here, Steve, is now a generation who is going to be totally dependent on machines.
That's where we're going, bro. I totally agree with that.
And if we don't think that AI is screwing with us, I believe it's so far ingrained now, Steve, that it's beyond our comprehension to even accept anymore.
I know.
The question that was sent in, and I'm going to do a video on this, but I thought I'd show this to you, as to why a brown dwarf actually can produce what looks like to have wings coming out, and why it does not last as long as one would think. And she really gets into really good detail on this.
Wow.
So, yeah. So there you go. Got another great paper that our physicist has put forth. And again, if people have questions they'd like to ask her, then by all means, send your question in to the email, and we'll see what she has to say.
Yep, and we've been certainly asking her, doing a lot of Q&A with her over the year, and so we had our crack at her, didn't we, Wayne?
Yeah, I tell you, I've learned so much. I did one last night that, well, apparently was a little bit over. I don't think most people understood it. It was on the Lagrangian effect and principle. And it was fascinating because I would have never gotten there if it was not for our physicist and what she has done in allowing me to gain more knowledge and understanding so that I can apply it to what we see taking place and all of the satellite telemetry, the data, etc.
Right.
That's why I believe that we do bring a good contribution to the community. And whether you agree with her or not, I haven't seen anyone else write another white paper to counter our physicist. But the point is, at least we're learning about the principles of physics.
We are, instead of us just guessing, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so, I get so mad about chemtrails, and I know a lot of people send me a lot of angry statements. But the more and more I'm looking at this stuff, the more I'm convinced that a lot of this technology is being deployed to keep to reduce the impact on the grid.
Well, I often say this. Listen, the elites, whoever you want to put in that position, they have to live on this planet too. And even if they went underground, right? It doesn't matter. Eventually you have to come to the surface. So, and here in Denver, I mean, they were chemtrailing last night. They're doing it at night now.
Yes, I'm aware.
Why? I mean, you got to ask yourself. At first, I thought it was to obscure, what we could be seeing, but like the moon last night. I don't know about anyone else, but around 12:30, Steve, I've never seen the moon half full upside down.
I know.
I mean, what's up with that? I watched that. And by the time it got up, when I was up this morning around 5:15, it had turned the 90 degrees. But the weird thing about it was that it was literally upside down. And I'm going, well, there you go.
And then, these are photos that I just never got to because, I'm still catching up on some stuff. We're seeing that halo. Like, again, I just want to show that there's so many different places in the world combined with the heavy chemtrailing activity. It just seems like there's a science battle going on up in the sky right now.
Well, hey, look at this one too, Steve. I mean, there was already a good cloud deck up there to begin with,
right?
From what it looked like.
Yeah, it just seems like they're trying to build some kind of a barrier.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I don't know. When you think about the Anunnaki and if the whole myth is true or not, about gold and, changing the principles of gold and being able to protect an atmosphere, who knows? Maybe this is the type of technology that world powers going back to, even during the Nazis era, their drive to find this hidden knowledge. And by the way, as we're talking about this, it appears that going back to the Nazis, particularly in a lot of disclosure that's coming out, they were very much aware of Nibiru. They were very much aware of the legend, the myth. Apparently, they took it a little bit more serious. And then I look at the exploits of what the United States have done here in the wars that we got ourselves involved with where Iraq was concerned, in those surrounding territories where they've made insurgent strikes into Iran to get into where they think these documents are. We all know the story about Baghdad, right?
Right. But go ahead and reiterate it.
Yeah, so, the story is, in fact, I've actually talked to a couple of guys that was in those squads. Before we knew about the invasion, right, they had already gone in to the museum where Saddam had kept these ancient artifacts. We were in and out of there within 2 hours. And whatever we grabbed, we knew exactly what we were looking for. We knew exactly where it was at, and they got it, and they got the hell out of there. Why?
Right, and this also ties to the Antarctica stuff. I mean, again, this is all connected. And, we're starting to actually see, I don't know if you've seen some of the recent photographs where we're actually seeing cities and things like that are coming visible from the melting ice, which is melting from below the ice.
So I want to give credit to one of our subscribers. So I want you to think about this, Mr. Olson, and the viewing audience as well. The Bilderbergs. Break that name down. Build a berg. Are you seeing any connection?
I am.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Build a berg. That is one of the theories that's going down around Antarctica. The geological record does not allow for the ice accumulation that's down there. Doesn't. So,
no, and this is actually one of the things that Ben at Suspicious Observers did a great job reporting on, I thought, which he was always showing us the hypocrisy of the extreme, that it was global warming. He was showing that there was almost equal and opposite cooling in other parts of the globe, and he helped us to track and understand that the Antarctic ice was actually at all-time records.
Yes. Now, let me tell you what I think is going on down there. I think volcanization is beginning to overwhelm the ice sheets. And I think that that's what we're seeing, no matter what they try to do. See, I think that ice barrier down there is artificial. I think it was created not by natural processes. And I happen to think now that we're not hearing about it, but as we've seen evidence that there's huge cracks now in multiple ice shelves down there. And these are opening up even on land. And I'm telling you, Steve, we don't hear anything about it. We don't see anything on the monitors. But then again, where Antarctica is concerned, they don't talk much about it.
No, it's always been kind of shrouded in secrecy. I remember the revelation I had one time when you and I were talking, and it was like, Steve, how much have you ever really heard about or know about Antarctica? And I started thinking, it's like I know about the approximate shape of it. I've heard that Admiral Byrd went there once, all that. And then when you start to really poke into it, you find out that there's very little really valid information about Antarctica.
And I often tell people, if you don't believe us, take your butts down there and try to row up to Antarctica.
Oh my, yeah. It's like you wonder. Well, there's certainly, when we saw those Podesta emails with the photographs of the calm sea, it's like there's places where you can go in and chill, and you never had that picture of Antarctica. You just didn't know what would you even expect going up to the shore of Antarctica. Nobody had an expectation. I can certainly imagine what it's like to go up the shore of Florida, or even New York and Long Island, right?
Yeah.
What is it like to get on the shore of Antarctica? I don't know. I really never seen any pictures of it other than there's, the penguin, those types of wildlife films, and, really nothing.
No, and everything that we see coming out of Antarctica, National Geographic just had that series, The Seventh Continent. It's sanitized. It's designed to be fed to us through a certain perspective, right?
Right.
You don't see private corporations down there. You just don't. These cities, I often find it very interesting is you don't hear anything about what these cities are doing down there, and they are cities.
Well, look at all this. This is a government outpost from this is the mission from Australia, and the things that they show us. I mean, obviously, but look at the infrastructure going through this thing. It looks like they're pumping something out of there. Doesn't it?
Well, there's no oil exploration because I believe that's by the UN mandate that's off. So there's no mining. But all right, so is that hot water? Is that fuel oil?
Maybe geothermal heat generation? I don't know.
Well, and that would lend credence to what we've heard down there already, that there is a volcano that's underneath the ice cap. So geothermal venting?
Yeah, well, they're saying that water melt is actually affecting salinity of the ocean right now. That's one of the rumors I've heard. I have nothing to confirm it. That's just one of the things I've heard. It's always fun to watch Davis film. So we're looking straight up in the sky, and here comes the clouds again. Remember this?
Yeah, and I'm trying to see is that a star we're actually seeing there? It's not a lens flare. I don't see it coming off right there. No, that's right there. No, next one over. No, over to your right. That's right there. There you go.
I don't know what I'm seeing.
Would that be? I don't know what to say. No, it's definitely it's an object.
I know, right?
Well, what is that?
I feel like it's just another piece of the puzzle. I don't know if we're necessarily learn anything from this.
You know what's so cool about this? This is a great shot because you can actually see the sun as it's traversing. Look at that. Yeah, what is that, Steve?
I know, right?
Venus? Jupiter?
What's this? What's this?
I don't know what that is either.
By the way, I haven't run this film. We're watching this live. This is the first time that Wayne and I've seen this.
Look at this. That is, I'm assuming it's a planet. There it is again. Yeah, let's see if it comes through the cloud deck.
Well, they chemtrail down there. Can you see the chemtrails?
Yeah, look at that. There it is. Yep. So what is that? So we have two objects there. Is that Venus and Mars, or is that Jupiter? Is it Saturn? Because I know Saturn